insane. Thought I was searching for something. Door eyes closed, not a sound. Take a look.
A few moments later.
Now, let me introduce ourselves. My name is Muhammad Shukri bin Muhammad Razi.
Okay, my name is Alia binti Muhammad Rafadi.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Siti Nur Aliza binti Darus.
Hi, my name is Hanis binti Muhammad Noor.
My name is Nurshaliza binti Muhammad Zain.
We
are Group.
Let's start with a definition of Arahno. Pawnbroking was first used in Malaysia in the early 1800s. The traditional pawnbroking system had a lot of weaknesses, including high interest rate and unfair procedures. To improve this shortcoming, an alternative to the pawnbroking system called as Arahno has been created. The public's reception has been very positive. In theory, Arahno can be defined as constancy and keeping and linking. A run contract is contract that guarantees the fulfillment of a debt settlement. While according to the Arahno Express, Arahno, also known as Aran, comes from the verb rahana, which means to pawn. From April 2010, Arahno Express continued to thrive for nearly a decade in the Islamic pawn service. Now, Arahno Express has stood firm with 8 branches in Peninsular Malaysia. Arahno Express are regulated by the Ministry of Housing and Local Government, which is KPKT. Okay, that's all from me. Let's move to the next presenter.
Next is the combinations of contract in Arahno. Arahno institutions must ensure that all the transactions are with the Sharia compliance. Apart from the religious consideration, Sharia compliance is a critical owing to customer desire, as most the customer place a premium on Sharia conformity when dealing with the Arahno institutions. Therefore, the applications of Arahno Express Habitual Senyang Berhad involve 3 Sharia contract, which are Qard, Ujrah, and Wadi'ah Yadamanah. The purpose of the Qard is to provide an interest-free loan. In most cases, the client only needs to pay the main sum obtained, and then the institutions will grant the credits to the clients under this item, and the clients will pledge their gold endowments as a guarantee for the advance. On the developments or upon request, the client will reimburse a similar sum to the institutions. Moreover, in Arahno Express Habituals, they do not charge high interest rate or any financial practice involving riba. Arahno Express Habitual Senyang Berhad wants to be the best alternative for the Muslims, especially those with low incomes, to finance the education, or who are experiencing financial difficulties and need capital to do the business. The next contract is Ujrah, which is known as a fee. This refers to the charge or fee for the administration gift. Under this item, the institution will charge a sensible supervision expense for keeping the gold or gems in a protected condition during the credit residency. Under Arahno Express Habituals, they will charge a safekeeping fee for the customer who pledged the gold. Finally, there is a Wadi'ah Yadamanah, which is we known as a saving with guaranteed protection. It refers to the consensus for the positions of asset or cash to someone else for safekeeping. These institutions promise to keep the gold or the jewelry in their authority during the loan period, and the institution will be dependable to supplant the gold or the jewelry to the client if the gold or jewelry disappear or taken. If it is not due to the Ar-Rahnu Express Habib Jewels carelessness, they are anyway won't be responsible to bear the cost.
Next, let's discuss about contracting parties. According on Islamic jurisprudence, Ar-Rahnu have 5 pillars. It just made up 5 parts. The first is Rahin, the pledger. Second is Murtahin, the pledgee. Third is Marhun, pledge asset. The fourth is Marhun B, which is the debt. And lastly is Sirah, offer and acceptance. As a result, the two contractual group, the Rahin, which is the pledger, and the pledgee holder Murtahin, are involved in the first and the second foundation. The pillars agreement is focused on the individual ability to complete the deal. In pawn contract, the third pillar is the covered debt and the right. The majority of jurists clearly recognize the pawning allows the development of the debt. Despite this, they have different viewpoints on pawning an item. Thus, Shafi'i and Zahiri jurists maintain the position that pawning for an object is prohibited because Allah only permit the debt pawning. The Maliki jurists and the majority of the Hanbalis believe that pawning an object was completely permissible. Thing offered as a pawn make up the fourth pillar. Most jury has established convincing agreement on the authority with hold anything that has been allowed to be sold as a debt pawn on the ground that the pawn function to ensure the debt by deducting the debt from the pawn price in the case of failures to pay. The Hanafi, on the other hand, believe that a pawn goal is to keep up. As a result, pawning of any lawfully sold property is permitted, with some restrictions such as when the item belongs in the partnership with each mushah. Now, the final element is offer and accepting. Jurists from Islamic Sigah are discussing topics such as verbal offering and verbal acceptance. There was no agreement among them on the minor Sigah consent. The bid we know is ijab. According to the most Hanafi jurists, was the only pillar of the Ar-Rahnu contract. It is permissible but not required to accept something verbally, which is qabul. Okay, now let's see the Ar-Rahnu Habib Jewellery Express is in compliance with Ministry of Housing and Local Government requirement. Now we see on the side of Ministry of Housing and Local Government. The first is the pledger and the pledgee are required to be contracting parties in Ar-Rahnu contract. And the second is a contracting parties is legal, entitled who are legal competence to enter into the Ar-Rahnu agreement. Now the side on Ar-Rahnu Habib Jewellery Express, the first is anyone Malaysian citizen or Malaysian permanent resident with legal document can enter the contract. The second is non-citizen having a proper passport and legal document also can enter the agreement. The third is majority of age, which is above 18 years old, who can enter the contract also.
Of pledge item, the Ministry of Housing and Local Government, Ar-Rahnu Express Draft outlines several pledge item conditions. Sharia compliant pledge item must be owned by the obligator, a third party, of both the obligator and the third party. The exposure draft also states that if the pledger wishes to pledge a marhun that is totally or substantially owned by a third party, he must first seek the approval of the third party to pledge the marhun. Ar-Rahnu Express by Habib Jewel also accepts a variety of gold in jewels, dinars, damaged gold, white gold, raw Italia gold, certified diamond, diamond encrusted product, jewels and pearls. Then, customer need to bring an ID card and the jewelry to be listed. The greatest lending margin is offered by Ar-Rahnu Express, which offer up to 75% of marhun value. each customer maximum loan amount is 100,000. They charge a saving rate of 1% of the marhun value per month as the reserve rate. Meanwhile, the lease term stipulates that each lease has a 6-month maturity time. When the lease enters the 6 months before the expiration date, the client can extend the lease for up to 9 months by completing a 6-month saving rate payment. Customer can also return the rent good before the end of the term. The customer retains the right to cancel the lease at any time without incurring any penalties or fine. They also offer mortgage insurance to each customer. As a result, each mortgage item will be covered by insurance. They accept variety of payment method. Then, customers have the option of taking out a monthly loan or paying in full at the time of redemption. Then customer can pay in installment at any time, whether daily, weekly or monthly, and there is no minimum amount.
Next, we move to safekeeping fees. As stated by the KPKT, it stipulates that the maximum safekeeping fees do not exceed 1% per month. In addition, the margin of payment is up to 75%. At the last step of pawn goods, the individual need to akad toward pawn goods to get the financing from this institution. Each Arahnu has its method of calculating the safekeeping fees towards the lease items. For easy understanding, if the individual want to pawn their gold, which is gold 196, and it is weighted 10.23 gram at Arahnu Express by Habib Jewels, here is the formula and calculation that used by them. The formula is the marhun value equal to weight of gold times current price of pound gold, and then the payment equal to 75% times marhun value, and safekeeping fees which is in monthly equal to 1% times marhun value. Okay, for example, if the current gold price is 160 ringgit for 1 gram, the total safekeeping fees for 6 months is 99 ringgit and 18 cents. Once the individual has agreed to the stated financing, the next step is to perform a gold purity test on its lease items. Once the quality and purity of the gold are confirmed, the final calculation of the lease items will be calculated to determine the amount of financing that will be received by them. And then next, a surat akuan gadaian, which is SAG, is printed and given to JAM as a reference for future transactions. At Arahnu Express by Habib Jewel, the maximum period of settlement is up to 6 months, so that the individuals need to pay to Arahnu Express by Habib Jewel within 6 months from the date of pledge. But if the individual cannot pay within the period, they can extend the settlement period to 9 months by paying in advance the safekeeping fees for 6 months. And then lastly, the individual needs to akad to get the financing from these institutions.
Okay, now let's discuss about another question, which is the liquidations of the pledged items. Those in financial distress are looking for the various methods to obtain quick cash in the wake of the present economic recession. People who are in the severe needs of money can also approach any pawn shops where they can pawn items such as gold or other jewelry for much needed cash. To ensure that the loan is repaid, the borrower must provide the returnable collateral. If the collateral item is damaged owing to circumstance beyond the lender control and not due to the lender negligence, the lender is not entitled to replace the item. This has been concern for the customer who are concerned about what will happen to their collateral object if they cannot afford to pay all the costs, and how confident the lender is that their expensive item will be kept in the secure location until the contract is matured. Okay, now my friend will continue to explain more about the liquidations of the pledged item.
Okay, thank you Shukri. Okay, let's move to the next liquidation of Arahno. If the proceeds from the pledged items liquidation are insufficient to cover the obligor's responsibilities and the balance will become a debtor's liability or obligation. If the proceeds from the liquidation of a pledged item exceed the debtor's liabilities, the assets must be restored to the assets owner. Okay, I pass to the Aliza.
It is also a standard practice for Arahnu Express by Habib Jewels to send an update notification before the loan term expires to ensure that the owner is aware of the obligation to make payments within the set time frames. Lastly, Arahnu Express by Habib Jewel recognized that acquiring flexible and non-burdensome financial facilities is challenging. Thus, they offer a share-free, fair and non-burdensome micro-loan program based on Islamic Sharia, with a large lending margin of up to 75% and a loan maximum of up to 100,000. This is a great option.
As a result of the closure, Arahnu Express Habib Jewel has demonstrated that they are complying with the policies and standards that established by the Ministry of the Housing and the Local Government, which is renowned as a KPKT. Moreover, Arahnu Express Habib Jewel is also a customer's favorite for the manner they handle the pledge item transaction, and many incentives have been provided to the customers. Meanwhile, the customers who are facing financial difficulties can pledge their item to the Arahnu Express Habib, where they will not be charged for the interest as have been stated before, but will only be responsible for the safekeeping fees and any other condition that have been stated. The year after the year, the Islamic pawn shop, which is Arahnu, will become more well-known and used by the everyone due to its numerous benefits and with the Sharia compliance.
In a nutshell, Arahnu Express is a company under the Habib Group. As such, Arahnu Express share more than 60 years of expertise and skills in valuing diamonds. Additionally, Arahnu Express by Habib Jewel offers services that are easier and faster when compared to conventional and Sharia bank. Furthermore, Arahnu Express by Habib Jewels conduct transactions clearly and transparently without any hesitations. Last but not least, the advantages of doing transaction at Arahnu Express by Habib Jewel is that they do not take long to process the financing compared to making a loan at a bank, which will take 1 to 3 working days before it is approved.